G'day, welcome to another Smart Mojo video. This one's about how to use B-roll to highlight aspects of an interview and to also cover jump cuts in an interview that you get when you actually shorten an interview. The first thing that you need to do is you probably need to record your interview on your smartphone. If you haven't already done that, do that on your smartphone camera and also record some overlay or some B-roll to help cover those cuts. The next thing that we'll do is that we have to start a project in iMovie. Press iMovie, that's the one with the white and purple avatar. Then we have to make sure Projects is selected, hit plus. We then hit Movie. We're going to choose a simple project and so hit Create on that. And then we get the timeline which we can see with a whole lot of icons. We're going to choose the little film icon down there. There we go. Then we'll look for the shots that we've just shot. A shot of me, that's this one here. When the shot's selected, it has a yellow square around it with two vertical handles on either side, and we'll play the shot that we've selected. To make sure. A lot of gap at the beginning, we don't want that gap.
Mobile journalism is the new way of telling stories using smartphones, small cradles and microphones. You can actually tell broadcast quality stories. It's going to be the new way that journalists are going to apply their craft. How much do I like it? Well, I like it as much as I like my motorcycle, my big motorcycle. It gives me the same sort of freedom.
Now there was a pause there and we don't want that pause, we've got to get rid of it. So what we'll do is we'll drag that handle, the right hand handle, across right to where I stop talking. And that's kind of given us up until that point where I paused. You know, we don't want the pause. We can adjust that point later on in the timeline. And so we'll press this button here, this little arrow going down, that will put it in the timeline. And then we can play it in the timeline. We can scroll back and we can get to the beginning and we play that shot and see if it's what we want. Now, I've even included that stuff at the head of the shot that we didn't want, that was me sitting down. So we'll have to get rid of that. So that's where I start to speak. We don't want the rubbish. What we can do is highlight that. The yellow line appears. We can go with your... There we go. See that? It's split it in two. We can just tap that and then hit the rubbish bin and get rid of that. So now it should start right where we want it to start.
Mobile journalism is the new way of telling stories using smartphones, small cradles and microphones. You can actually tell broadcast quality stories. It's going to be the new way that journalists are going to apply their craft. How much do I like it? Well, I like it as much as I like my motorcycle, my big motorcycle. It gives me the same sort of freedom. And we don't want that pause. So we stop it there. And what we can do is we can either do the same thing again where we can split it, or we can just go to the end of it. See how we've kept it a bit longer? We can go like this and just drag the yellow line in. Right back to the pause, to where I paused. Right? So that should finish on freedom now. Bang. So at that point, we want to bring in the next part of our interview. So we go back to our film-like icon and we go back to our footage and find some more vision. We know we've used that bit because that's got an orange line there that shows that we've used it. So we can probably start after that and see if there's another bit we want to use. Well, no, it's actually going to be really relevant in remote communities because with the onboard edit apps, it'll enable people in communities.
See, we can just...
Is it just for journalists?
Ooh, almost got it, didn't I?
Is it just for journalists? Well, no, it's actually going to be really relevant in remote communities because with the onboard edit apps, it'll enable people in communities to actually complete stories from concept right until the end. That's all we want, and we'll use that little down arrow and put that back in the timeline. There we go. These are dissolves, you see, watch this. Same sort of free. Is it just for journalists? We don't want that. We just do that and we make it a cut. All right, so now it'll go like this. The same sort of freedom. Is it just for journalists? Let's go back to the beginning now to show you how the B-roll fits into this. Let's have a look. Watch this. Mobile journalism is the new way of telling stories using smartphones. Now we can put a shot over the top there where I say smartphones showing a smartphone. That's a B-roll shot. That highlights that area. So we go back, we hit our film icon,
We look for our shot of our smartphone. There it is.
Cradle and a microphone. Okay, so I reckon we could probably go like that and probably go in there until it starts to move.
Then we tap that picture on picture icon. That's those two little bars. We tap that picture on picture icon and that puts it into the timeline as B-roll.
Let's put it on top. So now what we get, is it like this.
Using smartphones, small cradles and microphones, you can actually tell broadcast quality stories. Well, I like it as much as I like my motorcycle.
All right, that's where we could put some more shots of the motorcycles. We have some footage of that.
I'll get a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and we'll put that down as B-roll as well. So we hit this thing here. Okay, so let's just see what that looks like.
As much as I like my motorcycle, my big motorcycle, it gives me the same sort of freedom. Is it just for journalists? Well, no, it's actually going to be really relevant in remote communities because with the onboard edit apps.
The onboard edit apps. Back to our little film icon and find some of those edit apps.
And we take a few seconds of that, a few seconds of the edit app, and we put the B-roll here, which is the picture on picture button. We press that, and now it's put that in there.
The onboard edit apps, it'll enable people in communities to actually complete stories from concept right until the end.
And there it is. We've shortened our interview. We've used B-roll in two different ways. We've used it to highlight aspects of the interview and to also cover the jump cuts that we made in the interview. And we can have a look at that just by hitting the button at the top left of the screen, the little arrow, and then hitting the play button, and we can watch it full screen.
It's the new way of telling stories using smartphones, small cradles and microphones. You can actually tell broadcast quality stories. It's going to be the new way that journalists are going to apply their craft. How much do I like it? Well, I like it as much as I like my motorcycle, my big motorcycle. It gives me the same sort of freedom. Is it just for journalists? Well, no, it's actually going to be really relevant in remote communities because with the onboard edit apps, it'll enable people in communities to actually complete stories from concept right until the end.
So that's it. That's how you take an interview, you shorten it, you use B-roll to cover the jump cuts where you've shortened the sync grab. We've used B-roll to highlight certain aspects of the interview to make it more dynamic. You can actually put a lot more B-roll in that as well. This is just one little interview and the story would build around this interview, but this is just to show you how this is the beginning and what you can do with a small interview to make it much more dynamic and make it look just like television. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you can use it. See you next time.